Do you think that, okay, there's an old saying, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. What are your thoughts on that?
I have lived in both of those worlds where you had to ask for permission before you make a decision, but also have found some of my greatest successes when I ask for forgiveness and not permission to get something done. I've been on this leadership journey for a very long time, and some of my greatest successes have come when I was empowered to take those risks as a leader, when I felt comfortable that there was not going to be any type of punishment or retribution when I made a mistake. So yes, I think certainly asking for permission, but it also is disempowering. It also means, how are you going to make breakthrough progress if every time you've got to go and ask for permission? And so leadership is about creativity, about innovation, about influence. And if you don't have the opportunity to ask for forgiveness and you're always asking for permission, then that's sort of limiting in the scope of what you might be trying to accomplish. And so we live in an age right now where there's all types of information and all types of different ways to solve problems. And so if you're saying you're in an organization where everybody has to solve the problem in the same way, that's a very myopic way of looking at how to get things done. And, we live in a world where there's infinitesimal, infinite amount of possibilities on how to solve problems. So I think hopefully people are allowing people to be creative and innovative in the way that they're solving problems.
And it goes back to what you mentioned earlier about content without context is confusion.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to stick
No,
with
you can have it.
Okay.
I didn't come up with it. So I brought it from somebody much smarter than me.
So I guess the context would be maybe just taking a nice lay of the land of your organization,
Absolutely.
seeing where you can kind of, in some cases, push some of those boundaries.
Right.
Where you may have to ask for a little bit of forgiveness.
Right. Well, I think that, we talked about context, content, but you're also talking about contribution and how can you contribute to what the organization is trying to accomplish.
Right.
And is that your number one thought? Hey, how can I contribute to what the organization is trying to accomplish? And then if that is what you're always at the front of your mind, then more than likely you're going to be in alignment with what is going on inside of the organization. So you got to do it with the right motives, though, because some people are doing things for themselves and not for the organization. And that brings me back to what is your number one goal in doing what you're doing? Is it to promote yourself? Is it to promote the organization? Before you become a leader, it's all about developing yourself. Once you become a leader, it's all about developing your people and making sure that they're successful. Because the more successful your people are, the more successful you will become. You just need to make sure that you give them credit for that success and not try to act like you came up with all the ideas on your own.
Yeah, I like that. I like the point you mentioned about intent.
Right.
Because the intent has a lot to do with the motivation. Why are you making these choices? Is it for yourself or is it for the betterment of the organization? And is it aligned with the mission of the organization?
Yeah, and a lot of people make those decisions not because they're doing it for the betterment of the organization, but they're doing it to promote themselves.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, people see through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They see through it.
Right, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Okay, now I'm curious about this mug you got here. Maybe we need to turn it where the audience can see it here.
So I brought this mug because it's one of my favorite mugs and it sits in my office. And
let's turn it that way where the camera.
Okay, and as you can see, it says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter." That's a quote by Martin Luther King. And so I am a follower, a student of him. And as we're talking about leadership, obviously Dr. King was able to do amazing things as a leader. But this is one of the quotes that I think is so appropriate because as we step into these things, we have to speak out on the things that matter.